Well, looking back, the kind of first part of week 3 was just driving. So we just were plodding along endless roads with quite a lot of snow, with the team getting pretty bored. And it was just one of those times when you had nothing to do but sleep and wonder why on earth it was an expedition. It didn't feel like one, it felt just more like a big, long drive.
A bit tired. A lot of us have got colds and flu. I'm a bit worried about people being tired all the time. We're going to need more free time, I think. There's too much driving through the day and then reception in the evening. We've got 15 minutes to get in and then get out again. I think it's getting a few people, well, it's getting a lot of people down. And it's going to get worse when it gets colder. I don't know. We just have to pull together, I think.
And then every now and again, this was kind of hit by quite extraordinary little sessions. I had to keep on making speeches in towns to people who were expecting us to come past, because we'd done that a lot. And there was an amazing town of Omsk, which we were only in for a very short time. But I had these huge memories of it, because we got to the town centre, all the cars lined up, I thought rather efficiently, because we were going to be filmed by the local Omsk news. And suddenly I find, as I start speaking, that my voice is ricocheting all over the place. It turns out that every single lamppost in Omsk has a loudspeaker.
Okay. One needs to be aware of all these speakers are going around 1,200,000 throughout the whole city. Okay. This is what Valery is telling me.
It's a little nervous.
Right. Doesn't make you nervous. It's true. Fine. Excellent.
And I was talking to every single person in Omsk about the journey. It was one of those tiny things which kind of completely change your attitude towards this long, dreary drive.
Members on our team who come from Britain, France, Germany, the Netherlands, and of course Russia. All of us are working together as we drive across the world, right across Siberia, and across that very small but very difficult section of water, the Bering Strait, which has for so long divided the two great continents of the world.
It was interesting too, because the team kept on hearing the same speech, and it was getting about this time they were saying, can you please try and say something different, because we hear the same stuff all the time. So I was trying to do a slightly different speech with each different version.
Yesterday the driving was very hard, because everywhere you looked it was white. You couldn't decipher between the horizon and between what was ground. The only thing that sort of looked remarkably familiar was the Maverick in front of you, or the car in front of you. And then there was a bit of a wind blowing, so the snow was blowing all over the ground, which was quite hard to travel in. But I mean, it's going to get a lot worse than that, so we've got to just get used to it, really.
And then we hit Novosibirsk. And in a way that was a really extraordinarily important point for me, because that's where our Ford sponsors left. The cars were, in my view, officially handed over. They were ours and no one else looking at them. And there was a very big meeting, I remember, on the first morning in Novosibirsk, where some of the team were very worried that we were going to be kind of led in this military style because of General Karputkin and because Peter and others were ex-army. And there was the other side of the bunch who wanted it to be totally democratic. And hey, we all do what we want. And I had to manage these two different areas. So I had this great big meeting to try and explain where we're at. And although everyone was there, I was talking basically to two people. One was to General Viktor Karputkin, and one was to everybody else.
Is that we have to keep on schedule. And we've had it very easy up till now. We're in danger of going behind schedule and not making it.
And then we left Novosibirsk, we left New Siberia. And to put into perspective, Novosibirsk had 2 million people in it, so it's a big city. And then the crash.
We were riding, Marielle and I, in the Euro truck behind this green one, and all you could see was 2 trucks sideways across the road. It happened instantly. That one was across, this one hit the other side. It ripped, it looks like the bottom of it off, and there's a whole bunch of oil on the ground. They think it's probably going to take about 9 hours to fix it, and the whole one side of it is crunched in. I couldn't believe how fast it happened.
And the truck which was hurt was the workshop truck. We had a complete workshop on the whole way, and that had to be sent back.
The crash was a pity because it was the Russians put some of the blame on to Jenny, who was driving in front of the car, which had to brake and therefore crash into a bridge. They said to avoid hitting Jenny. And it allowed the Russians to vent their determination that women shouldn't be on projects like this.
They were trying to blame me for the accident. And that was just pathetic because, like, you can never blame the car in front. I mean, their braking distance obviously just wasn't enough. What's going to happen when we're on ice roads and they drive too close and we all have an accident in the middle of nowhere?
And we were right slap bang into the one thing I didn't want, and the whole thing was seized by Viktor Karputkin and a whole bunch of others in a slightly, well, very chauvinist Soviet Union in those days, to say this is proof they can't do it. And that was to overtake a lot of what happened to me for the next week as I was battling with this, with people saying, you've got to send the women back. They should have gone back with the journalists from Novosibirsk. And that was a perpetual problem that kept on happening all the time. But it was a huge, huge battle. And not just between me and Viktor Karputkin, which would have been slightly easier, although he was a general, but all the support team felt the same because they were brought up and bred in a very, very chauvinist Soviet Union.
We've got the best day of the trip so far. The sun's out, it's a little bit cold, but it's incredible. Boys are playing football, it's perfect. I think we're going to see a lot of this in Siberia because there's no precipitation up there, so hopefully the sun will follow us. Makes everybody feel a lot better.
And then eventually, remember we'd just come through Novosibirsk, we were getting to -30, -35, -40, and so with the first tests, we started to see whether we should leave the car engines on all the time. And we left the car engines on going 24 hours around the clock.